Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. I was hoping that you were gonna be able to hear my music, but that is okay. We're about to get started in 2.5 seconds. I just want to make sure that our people are ready and available to jump on with us. All right, all right, all right, all right. I'm so sad that y'all couldn't hear my music, but that is okay. Just sending out a message to my email list to tell them that we are live. I get some of those sound effects. And of course, I know you can't see me right now, but you will shortly. You will shortly. So get in here, and get in here. We are live. And it has been a while since we've been live. I hope y'all enjoy our message for today. Let's get into it. I'm sorry about that. All right. It's crazy how it's something you thought was gonna be quick and it's not as quick as you thought it was gonna be. But that is okay. We're gonna rock with it, we're gonna lean with it, we're gonna rock with it. We're gonna lean with it, we're gonna rock with it. Lean with it, rock with it. And get this on up and out to the people so that they will know that we are live. All right, let's go. Hey, hey, hey. So I am here. I am here. My name is Tangeray Porter. First of all, before we jump into who I am and all the things, let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me right now. We are rocking with a microphone, a new microphone, and we've tested it, but I just want to make sure. Can you hear loud and microphone? Let me know in the comments. Oh Lord, I hear me. Yeah, my thing just now. Let's see my back. Back, I'm back. Oh, 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 okay. So y'all know how it is. Tech be taking. It decides to do what it wants to do. So we're just not gonna even worry about this webcam. We're just gonna rock with what we know best, the actual computer camera, and call it a day. Again, let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. We're gonna jump right on in. Let's see if I can hear myself. Definitely probably gonna download this. And so I can edit this top piece, this pause, because I definitely strongly dislike personally rewatching replays, and it's a huge pause at the beginning. I personally don't like it. So I'm not gonna let y'all do that. I'm not gonna do y'all like that either. We're not about to do y'all like that at all. Just wanted to make sure that we are good. I'm not gonna let y'all do that. I'm not gonna do y'all like okay, y'all can hear me. I see myself on on Facebook. See myself on Facebook. So we are good in the hood. Get ready to rock and roll and jump right on into our live. So, um, as you all saw at the beginning, the topic for today is six storybooks creators use in the classroom next week. that is what we're talking about today. And not only are we talking about um storybooks, we're specifically talking about Black storybooks. It is Black History Month, and we're gonna rock it and roll it and learn some more about other artifacts that we can put in our classroom, whether it's for your creative classroom or if you are a parent, you're looking for more books to put in your kids' personal libraries. That's what we're here for. That is what we are here for. That's what we're here for. Right. So, if y'all don't know anything about me, I love to start off conversations with some statistics, with just grounding us. I believe that it's super important that we ground ourselves in the work that we are doing with the knowledge that is out there. Okay. All right. So as you're coming in, make sure you are saying hey in the comments, hey in the chat. I am live on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all the different places. So make sure that let me in that you are tuning in. I am praying that my internet does what it needs to do. 'Cause y'all know again, tech does its own thing whenever it wants to. Okay, so if you see me looking off to the side, I'm looking at my phone to talk to the Instagram people as well. All right. So as I mentioned, we're going to get into this topic, and if you are just joining me on Instagram, you have heard that we're talking about 6 storybooks creative educators can use in their classrooms literally next week, tomorrow if you had the book. And so um what I consider as a creative educator is someone who enjoys all things creative, whether you're a classroom teacher and you really want to enhance your curriculum with joyful activities or creative activities, whether that's bringing the arts into your classroom or just, little moments where kids can explore and be curious and not just produce a product. So that's a creative educator from the classroom educator side of things. However, if you are like me, I'm a former dance educator from elementary, really K, but most of my time in elementary school. They're oftentimes called the enrichment teachers or the special teachers or the related arts teachers. You too are creative educators as well. We're gonna put you in there too. Okay. I know a lot of people think arts, we think the drama, the theater, well, drama theater, same thing, dance, music, visual arts, media arts. Yes, but also the PE teachers too. We can't leave them out, okay? Because they're classified as enrichment related arts people, and they're oftentimes like kicked to the curb, and not in the same oftentimes are not having the same capacity, as the arts. And so, I like to include my fellow physical education people all over here because you too can be a creative educator. You too can also foster literacy inside of your classroom, okay? All right, so I'm gonna jump this, chat box over there. Ooh, that is super sorry, y'all. Something popped up and I was like, "Ooh, that's super cool." Um, so I forgot to introduce myself. If you don't know who I am, okay, if you don't know who I am, my name is Tangeray Porter, the founder and arts and literacy specialist here with Cultivated Connections with Consulting. And I am so wonderfully excited to be here with you all on today. Hey, I see you, Terry. Yes. And as I mentioned, we're just gonna dig right on in. So it's been a while. I know I haven't been live since November. We are back on the train. So like I said, let's jump right on into these literacy statistics again. Y'all know if you know me personally, you know that it's super important to me personally. Not only have I taught this, I also had the wonderful pleasure to serve in elementary setting as a kindergarten teacher. I actually like taught reading. So I'm not playing with y'all when it comes to this literacy thing. Okay? I'm not playing with y'all when it comes to this literacy thing, and I also have spent 13 years, well, 13 plus years, also teaching dance education. So I'm a firm believer of art integration and how it enhances our learning or our students' learning, especially our little babies. So before we like dig into the books, get into the books, I just really want y'all to understand why. A lot of times people think like, okay, let's put some arts integrated activities inside of this class, right? So that it's just fun. Yeah, we want the fun, right? Let me know in the comments if you're feeling the fun. You want the fun, but also what people fail to realize or appreciate. I'm gonna say realize, but appreciate is that the arts also support academic outcomes. Like the numbers are real. There's so much research out there about how the arts support student learning, student achievement, emotional, social, emotional learning, behavioral um, increases, and all of that jazz. Like the research is out there, and it just blows my mind as to why, when things are not going they should, that the art things. And as a former literacy teacher, in like an actual school building, I also served as an intervention coordinator throughout my career as well. So again, I know what to bring to the table. So, so it used to be like this major pet peeve of mine personally. I'm just gonna keep it real personally as to why the two art forms, no shade against visual arts and against music, because those are the top art forms that are oftentimes that are still around, no matter what arts get cut, and that's fine. Hey, shout out to my fellow music teachers and my fellow visual arts teachers. Stand 10 toes down on what it is that y'all do, and I appreciate y'all. But when we really think about what really drives success in reading, it's theater. And the reason why I say theater, and I'm gonna say dance too, because we know dance and movement supports learning in the brain and all that jazz. Okay, we've had a conversation about that. We're gonna bring it back at a later time. However, I think about drama and theater and how hand in hand, sorry y'all, I just hit the mic, but how hand in hand drama and theater goes with literacy. We're asking students in our classrooms, in our reading classes, social studies classes, all this to read like the character, right? Ask them to read like the character. We're asking them about their character traits and the character motives and the setting and the problem and all these different story elements and story related things. Let me know in the comments. Am I lying? Am I lying? Are we not asking these students to do this while they're reading? And we're asking them to do this while they're still learning how to read, right? Which is that's what we're supposed to do. But how can we ask them to do this if they've never had the practice to be that character, to embody that character? I think of Junie B. Jones, like, let's let the students act out a scene, a chapter from Junie B. Jones. Let them be Junie B. Or whoever the character is that y'all are reading about in your classroom. So that's one of the reasons why I love to talk about storybooks, specifically for the K-5 sector, elementary, because you the same storybook you read in kindergarten, you could also read it in 5th grade. So as I mentioned earlier, like arts integration raises literacy achievements. I love to, mention these stats, but the 4th percentile point gains in reading achievement, there's 4th percentile point gains in reading achievement when students receive arts integrated instruction. Okay. And I am reading off a note. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I am reading off a note because I want to make sure that I stated this correctly. Okay. And so it sounds modest, right? It sounds really, really modest. However, this is just consistent across the board. It's consistent across the board in any studies that you see that for most students that are in the underserved, marginalized communities and all that jazz, we already know how that is. That when they have the arts integrated lessons, that They grow faster because you're tapping into who they are as humans. We are naturally creative people. As I mentioned about the drama and the theater connection is like drama in your classroom. Again, we're not just talking about theater. We're talking about read alouds. Like add some movement to it. Add some movement to those read alouds. Let the kids act out the scene. Do some call and response. Okay, that actually works, and you will realize that you're fostering this love for literacy, this love for exploring stories right then and there. Okay. And we all know it is testing season, especially here in Tennessee. We haven't started any tests yet, but y'all know in March it's about to amp up. And we already know that, like in most K-5 schools, in third grade, that's when the not conversation, but the testing starts. Let me know in the comments is that the same for you in your state. You can just put yes if it's the same for you in your state that testing starts in third grade. And now, to be honest, Tennessee has a whole law about the state test for the kids spell or what have you. I'm not going to get into that now with today. In March, we're talking about assessments. Hey y'all, we're talking about assessments in arts integration throughout the month of March. So I definitely, want to know is that the same for you guys in the other states who are watching with starting third grade? And so we have seen, like, of course, studies show share these resources in an email if y'all would like. So join the email list so you can get them. That students show significant gains, proficiency, specifically in ELA, if they had intensive, intense arts integration in their school. Okay, versus just being at a school that just has an arts program. Okay? Arts programs are important, but what if your child went to a school that they not only had a chance to go to music class, learn how to play the instruments, but also had an arts integrated lesson in their reading class, in their social studies class, or what have you. If you guys are watching me on LinkedIn and Facebook and all the other places, let me know if I am glitching. I am trying to figure out what is happening. It could be my internet, but we're gonna rock and roll anyway. All right. So like I said, I just wanted to share some with y'all about literacy and arts integration and all that. And if the glitch is too much, join me on Instagram. I am over there as well. Also, if you haven't already, make sure that you have shared this live. Share this live with your friends. We getting back into it. We're gonna start back going live more often. I miss it. I actually miss it. All right. So, as I mentioned, six storybooks, creators, whether you're an educated parent or what have you, if you like storybooks, this place is for you. And you will notice that as we go through some of these storybooks, that they are centered around Black arts. It is closing out of Black History Month. Usually, I do a whole series centered around Black arts and literacy. However, that didn't happen this go around, but I'm going to bring it back. And you will notice that a couple of these books that I'm sharing with you all are centered around history. I think it's incredibly important. I know I'm not the only one to teach students about Black history. However, let's dig a little bit deeper and think about like what are the artists or people that they have never heard about. We always hear about the Rosa Parks and Malcolm X and Martin King and Stevie Wonder. And I think that's absolutely amazing. I think children should know these people. However, I think we can dig a little bit deeper. I think we can dig a little bit deeper and utilize some of the resources that are out there. Okay, let's utilize some of the resources out there. So if y'all are ready to get into these big storybooks, I had to stop myself at 6 because I'll be here all night. Y'all ready to get into these big storybooks? Go ahead and drop either a book emoji or say book. Drop a book emoji or say book, and I know you're ready, and that you're not getting with me. I don't know. Okay, let's get into it. So the first book, and I got some pictures, y'all. I got some pictures for y'all. The first book is called sing a song, and I might disappear if you're watching me on LinkedIn, YouTube, and all those other places. I might disappear for a minute, because I really want y'all to see the covers of these books. One, because it's so beautiful. Oh my goodness, just these beautiful, yes, just these beautiful, this beautiful imagery. If you want to see the actual books that I'm looking at, jump on to LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook, or I can just simply turn my camera around. So hold on, y'all. If you are watching me at other spaces, you will. So there we go. All right. How that work for y'all, Instagram? I normally don't do that, but it is what it is. But let's go ahead. I haven't figured out how to get my Restream account to lock in with Instagram. I have not figured that out. So if I jump on tomorrow, y'all better help me out, okay? But anywho, so one of the books that we're highlighting is Sing a Song, How Lift Every Voice and Sing Inspire Generation. We all know that song. I'm not gonna sing it because I can't sing. I can hold the tune, but I can't really sing. So I'm not gonna do y'all like that. And so the book is such a beautiful book that really just tells the story about how the Black National Anthem came to be, James Gordon Johnson created, and how it just became a staple um, in the civil rights movement, the Great Migration around Jim Crow. So not only are you sharing with students the song itself because it has the lyrics and all that jazz, you're sharing the history. Okay, you're sharing who the musician was, James Gordon Johnson. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say he was grew up here in Nashville. I will double check that. Um, so yeah, and also the other thing I wanted to share was some pictures from the inside. I One of my favorite techniques. It is a visual arts technique. It's called visual based thinking strategies, where you have the students to look at the pictures and ask what do they notice. Okay. Now, if you are an ELA teacher, literacy teacher, you're probably already doing this in your guided reading classes by telling the students preview the text. Same difference. When you tell the students, not preview the text, but preview the cover. When you tell the students to look at the cover and what do you notice? What do you think this story is going to be about? That is a arts strategy, visual based thinking strategy. Of course, it digs deeper, it goes deeper, and we'll talk about that another day. It does go deeper into like why do you think the artist did that, or the illustrator in this instance, all that jazz. But one thing that I have done not only in my kindergarten classes or reading classes, because I didn't just kindergarten, but I did this in my reading classes as well as my dance class. Like I use this strategy. I will throw up a picture and like, what do you notice in this picture? What do you wonder in this picture? What do you think is going to happen? I would do it before different dance styles that I would share with students. Okay. So this strategy, this book can go across any subject, whether you're sharing it in a history class, cool beans, because we're talking about the movement and all that jazz. Whether you are using a music class, let's talk about the lyrics and why this song was created. If you're using it, I said a history class, you can use it in a dance class as well, right? Um, talk about like let's create movement to the different words of this particular. You I even think about we already said music. I even think about visual arts. Why did the illustrator make this choice? Okay, put a sunflower in the comments if you're following me. Put a sunflower in the comments if you are following me. So one thing I also love to talk about when I'm sharing books with you all, of course, is like why are we celebrating this, but also or sharing this, but also like what literacy skill did it hit? I did give you a couple different things that you can do, but what literacy skill did it hit? One thing I know from my time teaching little humans is like we're talking of what narrative was, what a narrative structure was, and we really talked about like who are the characters or the different things about narrative. a narrative structure. They have characters. They have story elements. What is the setting? Like you literally ask the students if you are teaching students about setting. Again, this can go in your dance class too, or your music class, or what have you. A quick hit. Students, we are reading this book called "Sing a Song." It's about X, Y, and Z. Before we get to the lesson, I want us to point out what is the setting of this story. And of course, students need to know what setting is, the word setting is, when and where, right? And have them identify. See that this guy is from the military in front of a restaurant. The setting is the restaurant. He's clearly outside. What time of day is it? It's either morning or early evening, right? Or early afternoon. Then on the other side, you can ask them the same exact thing. Clearly, they're at home in the bedroom, all of that jazz. It looks like it's late evening time or night time. You can do this across any any subject matter, okay? And if you're thinking about a creative classroom activity, you can play a recording of, Lift Your Every Voice and Sing for the read aloud. Yes, this is a music is mentioned for a music classroom, but you can also do this inside of your own home. It's for any grade level. You don't have to, although I'm speaking to elementary people here, you don't have to stop at elementary. You can literally play this from K to adult. Lift Every Voice and Sing. Let's talk about this book. Right? I've done storybooks with my fifth graders, and I literally would tell them, "Hey, y'all, I only have one book. Other than that, I will let you all read it individually. However, I'm gonna read it to y'all, so I need y'all to step into your kindergarten pants and enjoy this read aloud." And fifth graders like to get stories read to them too. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. And so after like reading the book, students can write a song for their class, like an anthem. They can write a song or anthem for their classroom. And of course, talk about like stanzas and all that jazz. And they can legit think about, well, the past, the present, and future. What are we talking about in the past? What is happening in the present? And what do we want for our future? Okay. And so, even with, like I mentioned, the visual arts, students can illustrate one generation from the story using the colors that they see in this book. It's a lot of warm colors. So of course you gotta bring out your color pencils and your markers and your paint if that's what you feel like doing. But that's the visual arts aspect. And of course, as mentioned, we are talking literacy here, so you can definitely think through timelines, connecting the song, the book, the events to historical events that happen. And I think that's super important because one, history needs to be taught no matter what. But another thing that I saw or have seen, especially with younger students, is sequencing. I saw that issue in dance class. I saw that issue in ELA and reading, especially with kindergartners, some first graders, sequencing. So, what other better way to practice sequencing is through a timeline or first, middle, last, those type of practices. Let me know in the comments how you're feeling. Are you gonna take some of this back with you? Let me know in the comments what you're feeling. All right. And so I wanted to show you another picture from the interwebs that I grabbed. Um, you know, from so y'all can see. I didn't have the book on me on hand just because I don't have the space for more children's books. I have a whole box of children's books. I don't have any more room. So I was like, let me go and grab a picture from Google so that I can show y'all the inside of these books in case you don't have it. I even think about the words that we see, like the word liberty, talking about liberty. What does that mean specifically for America? Um, and it's a two-part situation. So you have this historical piece at the top, and then you actually have the lyrics of the song, like at the bottom or on different pages. All right. So I did want to share those different things from the Sing a Song book. So if you don't have that written down, go ahead and get it. The name of the book is Sing a Song: How Lift Every Voice and Sing Inspired Generations by Kelly Starling Lyons. Okay. So let's get into our other book. This one is one of my favorites. If you're on Instagram watching me, you clearly see the inside of my so and it's okay. So I'm taking myself away from the image because I want you to see the whole thing. So one of my favorite books is called The Artivist. I love this book. And I love this book for a variety of reasons, but the main reason is because this beautiful little black boy on the front of this book. No offense to other books, but I love the fact this beautiful little brown baby is on the front of this book. And the reason why I love that is because I don't think our boys see themselves enough on things in books, in picture books. But specifically with curly hair. This little baby has curly hair, and I love that for him. Okay. A couple other things as to why we are celebrating this book and highlighting this book is one, the history of the illustrator, the author and illustrator, Nicholas Smith. He's a former Disney Imagineer. Like, what an amazing black man was working at Disney, especially knowing the history that Disney like has. I'm not gonna get into that here. Um, but to know that he used to work at Disney as an Imagineer, he is of course, a black artist who went viral. Like, that's amazing that his work went viral because of his powerful, like, social commentary and all that jazz. And so the activist is this book right here, the Artivist, not activist. The Artivist is about a story of a young boy who discovers that his art can change the world. Oh, I love it. And it feels me up to highlight this book for a variety of reasons. One one of the things that I always share with my students or before I I share with my students was you have a voice, and your voice doesn't necessarily mean that you have to vocally say anything. If you are an artist, use your voice. If you are a poet, use your voice. If you are a dancer, use your voice within your body, right? If you're an actress, use your voice. So stumbled across this book last year, maybe it was last year or two. I couldn't wait to show the kids because that is something that we talked about. We talked about Alvin Ailey, which is a dancer, and why he created his dance company. We talked about Misty Copeland and why she, for the longest, was advocating for colored stockings or well, not stockings tights and shoes. Like she's still advocating for that, right? We talked about Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was a artivist, if you really think of it. And the reason why I say that is "Heal the World," right? The song "Heal the World." You had "Man in the Mirror," right? And there's so many others. I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan, so but we're not gonna get in here and get into that. Stevie Wonder, I talk to kids about Stevie Wonder, right? Like, although I was teaching a dance class, we still need to know Stevie Wonder created Happy Birthday, right? I just got a message on Instagram. Hey there, happy to hear your voice and how passionate you are. Thank you so much. You can ask her right now. You can go jump on Amazon. It is on Amazon. I do not have like a storefront and all that jazz yet. So right, it's on Amazon. A little bit of nothing, maybe $12, 12 between 12 and $15, but it's a great, great book. It is called The Artivist by Nicholas Smith. Yes. So that is definitely a book that every classroom, whether you are an ELA teacher or a creative educator, that you should get. okay? You should get it no matter what. Even if you are not a teacher and you are a parent watching this, have this book in your repertoire. It is amazing. It's so cute. And of course, I'm gonna show you the image from inside of it. So I want to share a little bit more about Nicholas Smith. He so like after his mural went viral, Google him to learn more about him and his mural. He became what we have named as activist, and that's just someone who merges artistic expression with activism. So teach your students these words as you're talking about activism in the spaces, however you teach it. Talk about what it means. They need to know what these words mean, right? Excuse me. The book like talks about gentrification, that's a vocabulary word, environmental injustice. It talks about voter suppression through the eyes of a child, right? So we oftentimes think of like, how can I share these things that are happening with the world with kids in an age appropriate way? This is one way. Artivist book, okay? And of course, it is such beautiful imagery and all of that. Of course, we're going to talk about literacy and how literacy plays a part in this whole thing. So the literacy skills that it targets, one of my favorite skills, Arthur's purpose. Okay. Let me know in the comments, no matter what grade level you teach, do you talk about Arthur's purpose? Do you talk about Arthur's purpose? Because I know for some people it starts like certain states starts like third and fourth grade. However, we kind of talked about it, in kindergarten. Why did the Arthur write this? Why do you think the Arthur wrote this? And in my dance class, before the dance educators or creative educators, in my dance class, I would twist it. And instead of why did the author create this? Or what do you think the author's purpose was? I would say, well, what was the choreographer's purpose? Especially when you watch videos that were centered around activism or, history or what have you. A lot of Alvin Ailey um, videos were watched. And I would ask, why do you think the choreographer created this? Right? So you can definitely use this for author's purpose or artist purpose, right? Figurative language, like if you're talking about metaphors, persuasive and argumentative, things like that. And in the text, I don't have a image of it. Excuse me. I don't have an image of it, but in the text, it does speak to this metaphor about healing broken bones through art. Like you can literally talk about metaphors centered around this, like bones through art. Can you really heal broken bones through art? No, but it is a form of healing. And that can get you into talking about figurative language and things like that with your students. Okay. So I just wanted to hit that literacy skill because I know sometimes books that are centered around the arts are oftentimes not picked because they're looked like the fun books, but they have so much value too. So, I'm speaking for my arts people. Don't skip over the arts books. And so, of course, I got to give you some activities in case you buy this book to, implement it no matter what it is that you teach. For visual arts. If you are a classroom teacher or a visual arts teacher, or any teacher for that matter, you can definitely do this particular activity. Before I jump into it, let me show y'all the other picture. Okay. That is one of the pictures there from the book. Y'all probably like, girl, why you just to show us the real book? If you're just tuning in, I don't have any more space in my house to hold any more children's books. So, I had to make do, right? Okay, we just found out that the artist purpose is oftentimes also taught in the second grade. That's super cool. That's super cool. So, the book, you can see the mural, and it also speaks to, it says the artist can inspire others to give back by painting what every person deserves. So clearly, you can have a whole conversation just about this particular picture alone. Why did he choose the words "we deserve"? And he has this arrow pointing at food, fruits, vegetables. Like, that's a whole conversation. We need clean water. It's not giving donations out of this particular image, right? That's a whole conversation about environmental injustice, food deserts, all of that jazz, and how can we support, um, our local communities. Like, that's a whole initiative that the entire school can go on. But I digress, 'cause I will come out with all the different thoughts and stuff and won't stop and have y'all here all night, okay? So, like I mentioned, you can create a artivist wall. Each student can identify one issue, one, because there's so many issues happening in the world, but one issue in their school or their community that they care about. And you guys can create a mural with on paper, because of course we're not painting those blue walls, but you can create a mural on that big butcher paper to express happening and what you all deserve and all that jazz. Okay. Give me another book in the comments to let me know if you're following me. You're still hanging in there with me, okay? All right. And so for theater, and this also goes to your ELA classes. If for theater, you can have students do a 1 minute spoken word, and that's a whole conversation about poetry, right? In April, oh my gosh, this would be amazing. April is poetry month, so go ahead, add to your poetry lesson. Go ahead. But yeah, students can write a 1 minute spoken word activist or artivist speech from the character's perspective, from this little boy's perspective in this book in performance. Yo, super dope. Super dope. All right, so we're gonna get into the next book. The next book is a cutesy book. It's really, really cute. I want to make sure this one is called Boogie Boogie Y'all. It is a very simple. It's not a lot of words in it. Let me say that. It's not words in it that I could see. Um, However, what I loved about it was the fact that it reminded me of automatopoeias, and what better way to teach that is through books that have automatopoeias inside of it. I know a lot of times we use comic books for that, which is super cool. But you can also use this cute little book here. Where did it go? Nope. Okay. So, Boogie Boogie Y'all is the name of this particular book. The reason why we're sharing this one is it was created by C.G. Esperanza, who was born in the Bronx. Of course, it's around the hip hop culture. So if you wanted to use this to introduce hip hop to your students, you can definitely do that. Or the hip hop culture to your students, you can definitely do that. But I love this book because it's using the art or the graffiti to share with them that the whole purpose of graffiti was to share beautifulness, right? And not to be looked at as vandalism. Although we know people do get in trouble for spray painting the walls or this, that, and the other as a form of vandalism, but to reframe why these amazing artists would do graffiti on the walls, on the streets, or wherever that they did them. And so the way that the book is set up is basically to highlight that the graffiti is basically like a living gallery. It changes. It can change because people are constantly painting over this, that, and the other. Okay. So I wanted to highlight this book just simply because we're always talking about the correct way to do things. I think about when people think through um what art is, what it where it should be. A lot of times we're like, oh, you should go to the museum to see art. Yes, you should. However, art is all the way around us. It's everywhere. We just have to look at it through a bunch of different lenses. Okay. And so, as I mentioned, you do have the onomatopoeias, the different sounds. So you have the clickety clackety click, like what? Amazing. And the ps, ps, like those sounds. Easy way to teach students about onomatopoeias and sounds, all that jazz. Okay. Um, Yes. So the literacy skill that it targets, of course, from my love of kindergarten, definitely phonological awareness, rhyme. So you got rhyme, rhythm, and of course, fluent. You want children to be fluent in their reading. It has this rhythm in the story as you're going through it. If you want to hear it, definitely hit YouTube. That's where I listened to it a couple days ago, to see how it's read and to see, of course, more books, more of the book before you purchase it. And so for my music and my PE teachers, dance teachers, what have you, what I do is read the book aloud. Okay, we need to read the book aloud, but have a beat underneath what we're reading. Okay, drum, you can beat on the desk, and have the students to create a rap to it, right? Something specific to like your neighborhood or the school or the community. I think about here in where I am, I'm in Nashville, and one of the things that most of my children talked about was the fact that Tennessee State University was down, which it is. So it was very important to them. It was a part of their upbringing and like just the whole Nashville. And so a lot of times when I would have them create things, if it was words, it was something related to like they would bring in Tennessee State University, living in Nashville, all that jazz. If it was something dance related, a lot of my girls bring in major movements from like major HBCU dance because that is what has surrounded them, which is super amazing, super cool to see the kids bring the outside in. Absolutely love it. So just wanted to share those quick tips and quick hacks and all that jazz. Let me know y'all ready for the next book. Just type next book in the comments. Type next book in the comments. I really thought I ain't gonna hold y'all. I really thought that this was gonna be a lot quicker. I wasn't planning on holding y'all for 47 minutes. I was not planning on holding y'all for 37 minutes. I thought it was gonna be like 30 minutes. That's okay. Thank y'all for hanging with me. Let's keep it going. So Soul Step is the next book. I actually stumbled across this while we were voting last year. When we vote? Anywho, I stumbled across it when we were at the library voting. It was on sale for $1. And I had never seen specifically about spin. And I thought it was absolutely amazing. This book is written by a mother-daughter duo. Um, and of course, they're sharing the history of step, right? And there's not a lot of children's books about this. And I think this is actually the only one. But don't quote me. I do think this is the only one. Um, and so it is a picture book all the way through. Let me just put y'all on the next one. It's a picture book all the way through, and it's really talking about how the art form of stepping is rooted, of course, in the African diaspora. Um, and really speaking to how Black people had to use their bodies as instruments, and later, of course, used in, you know, the beautiful way. So it's kind of giving a history about stepping. And I think it's super amazing, especially like down south. We talk about it. I feel like everybody talks about it, but I really know that we talk about it here in Tennessee a lot, especially for because we are in the center of two HBCUs. So you know, about stepping quite a bit because the children were familiar with it and all that jazz. But again, it does have those same it has movement words. So stomp, clap, flip, flap, snap back, things like that have those amazing movement words. So you can add these words inside of your classrooms, or these movements inside of your classroom. So it speaks to character motivation, spoken word literacy, um, gives like this research journey throughout the story. So great for students to think through with sequence and all that jazz, like most books. I definitely think this is more of a third to fifth grade book if you're using it from the love of like history and research. think that would be but for the sake of, like, reading this to all students, the words are very clear, it's not a whole lot of words on the page, the pictures are bright and very, like, beautiful. Alright, let's keep going. So that was Soul Step, let me make sure, and I think this is the last book. Nope, we got 2 more. So moving forward, I'm gonna start doing 3 books because I like to give a lot of things. So the next one is Welcome to the Cipher. And this is a great book to speak again about hip hop. I'm sharing these especially if you are a creative educator, arts educator, and you are teaching about hip hop. There was not a lot of children's books about hip hop. So this is great for you all who are teaching about the hip hop culture and all that jazz, but also teaching students what a cipher is, and also including cipher-like um, formations in your classroom, circles. And what I mean by that is create more circles in your classroom. It fosters community, but we'll save that conversation for another day of just using like hip hop related pedagogy to help support the classroom community. So definitely share this with your kids or have it in your classroom library. Welcome to the cipher. Tell them what it is and all that jazz. And this book is really centered around like the hip hop, like I mentioned, the hip hop arena. It opens up with the beat boxes and the finger snaps, as you know, of course, happen in the hip hop culture. So I'll show you this picture of these amazing humans or uh, kiddos. Hold on, I'm trying to get something off screen. The kiddos who are, performing, right? And it said you'll see sometimes revolution wears a backwards hat and is wagged in finger snaps, fist bumps, and claps. So it's giving you movement to do. Let's see if I can move this out. Okay. And then on the other side it says, so take a turn in the cipher, that great circle of rap, spanning every street corner, every inch of the map. Oh, I hear rhyming words. So you can have students practice rhyming. I even see math words, circle, inch, right? So you can have some fun, some super fun with this particular book in your classrooms. It supports phonological awareness, as we just mentioned, with the rhyming and all of that. It also supports reciprocity, fluency, voice, self-expression. And it's because it has this cadence, right? And so, you can have the kids perform the text, you can have the kids, create their own story related to it, you can have the kids in a circle, which I think should be happening anyway. You can have one child feel they're brave to recite something or even dance, right? So it's so many different ways that you can enjoy this particular storybook in your classroom, alright? And so we're gonna get to the last book, y'all, and this one is How Sweet the Sound, and it's a soundtrack for America, again, telling the history of music. I'm a firm believer of Black music is American music, and we need to teach children as so. And these are just little ways that we can do that without overhauling our entire curriculum, right? And so with this particular book, it's by Alexander, who's an amazing author. And he digs into Black music as a full arc. Normally, when we're looking at children's books, it's usually highlighted on one person, which is totally fine that that person is getting highlighted, but it's super amazing when you can see the whole historical context. And he's talking about from over 80 plus artists, from Billie Holiday to Armstrong to Beyonce to Lamar, and kids know about Kendrick Lamar and Beyonce. And so the photos are very mural-like as well, and it does give, like, a poetry, uh, throughout the book. How it's nonfiction, right? And I'm not gonna say you don't see too many of books like that because there are plenty out there, but I think that's super cool that you do, um, this students will experience this poetry-like cadence throughout the book to a nonfiction story, right? And so you have the chronological text structure, really thinking through, oh, what came first? What came second? So you can use it again for sequencing. Most of these books, which I love, can support the practice of sequencing, right? Alliteration, boom, boom, back, right? Teach them what alliteration is, because all those start with B's. Onomatopoeia, again, boom, boom, back, right? And just content area vocabulary, whether you're using it for music or you're using it for a specific like history, things like that. So you can have a time, baby. You can have a time with this particular. Okay, I'm just taking a glance at my notes. So I want to make sure I don't forget anything. I did read this book to my students, and they loved it. Again, of course, I used it to center around dance. So we did talk about hip hop and jazz and all that jazz a little bit more, so that you know they can love the dance form that I was sharing, but also understand how the dance related to the music and the history as well. All right, so let me give y'all an activity. I can't sing, so sorry about that. So you can build a soundtrack timeline, y'all. I wish I would have thought about that last year, but you can build a soundtrack timeline and pair each genre in the book with a audio clip. The kiddos have phones. I know most schools don't allow it, but hey, what other way can they create audio inside of the classroom? This is where you can get technology um, embedded. So like some tech integration, I'm thinking about like I know a lot of schools are against AI, but I think about Sora, which is an AI tool to make music, if I'm not mistaken. So you can have the kids create, something like that and teach them about royalty free music and all that jazz. So that's definitely one. You can talk about poetry, have students choose one artist from the book, and write a three poem. All right. So that is all that I have for y'all in relation to these amazing and cute and adorable books. However, before I let you all go, I want to make sure that if you feel like you want to take the next step with your girl for cultivated connections, that where you need to go. And so I created the Creative Educator Readiness Score assessment. It's just an assessment to support you on where are you in your creative journey right now. And it's free. You're gonna get a little grade at the end. Tell you like, are you developing or what have you? It's just again to see where are you in your creative journey. Do you naturally start inside of your learning spaces? Do you feel like you are a culturally responsive teacher, whether you are a ELA teacher or a creative educator, related arts teacher? It just to help you identify the gaps and where do you want to move next as far as your journey as a creative educator. And then, of course, moving forward, if you want to work together or bring cultivated connections into your school for a residency or professional development center around arts integration, we can definitely jump on a call and do that as well. But as for right now, what I want you all to do is grab your phones and scan that QR code. Sometimes it actually drops in the chat. But I want y'all to go ahead, scan that QR code, take that assessment for yourself. It should take no more than 3 minutes. And let me know what you got in the comments. Come back and watch and put wherever it is that you watch me on today and drop in the comments that your score is whatever it is. Or you can DM me if you want to. All right. But without further ado, I will be back, y'all, with some more lives centered around arts integration and a literacy rich classroom. Um, yeah, until next time, stay tuned. Make sure you follow me everywhere. Bye, y'all.